make a new name for yourself. Look at what has happened to Michael Perry. You know, one of our big stars here, the king of violence, he titles himself. And, you know, he's had such a rise in the sport. Now he's up against, you know, a little dweeb of a thing in a fight this weekend that we're all rooting for him.
Don't aspire to be, you know, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic.
That's him now. He's super jacked.
He looks like a bodybuilder.
See, that's what he looks like now. He's still jacked. He still looks great. He looks good though.
Whoa. He looks so old now.
He looks different.
On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan discussed a highly debated matchup in combat sports: Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul. Rogan, known for his honest opinions and deep understanding of MMA, shared his views on how the fight might go, breaking down the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters.
And like, there's something about like calling somebody out, which you immediately respect them a little bit more, like willing to put yourself out there for a fight.
He called out Conor McGregor too.
That's what Jake's doing.
Yeah.
That kid is a master troll, dude. He's a master creating hype. Like, dude, if I'm Dana White, I'm praying that this guy can actually.
A Jake Paul Amanda Nunes boxing match.
That's because Dana said maybe I'll let Amanda Nunes knock him out.
Now I think people are coming around. I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fight. He knows how to fight. It's nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up and coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future.
Another hot topic recently has been Joe Rogan's take on Conor McGregor's career. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan discussed how McGregor's self-destructive behavior, fueled by money and fame, played a major role in his decline as a fighter.
What's happening with his the civil suit? He's being dropped by all his companies or something.
Yeah, you know, I don't know the real details of that case, but the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard.
Dude, some of his interviews, you can tell he is out of it. Have you seen the Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor interview for Roadhouse? And he's just tweaking the whole time. And Jake's just like...
You know, it's funny, Shane Gillis has a great bit about Conor McGregor in Roadhouse. He goes, Conor McGregor basically played a c***ed-out Conor McGregor in Roadhouse.
To grasp the weight of Joe Rogan's critique, it's important to look back at Conor McGregor's rise to fame. When McGregor joined the UFC, he was unstoppable. A bold personality with unmatched charisma that made him a fan favorite. But it wasn't just his confidence that drew attention. His incredible performances in the octagon secured his spot as an MMA legend.
Perhaps the most important fight of your career! Give us your thoughts on this rematch! He should have killed me when he had the chance, because now I'm back and I'm gonna kill you and your whole f***ing team! You and them kids! I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants. That's what I dreamed into reality. Woo, that looks good.
A key moment in Conor McGregor's career came in 2015 when he knocked out the legendary Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds to win the UFC Featherweight Championship. His rapid rise continued with a historic achievement at UFC 205 in 2016, where he became the first fighter in UFC history to hold titles in 2 weight classes at the same time. At that point, McGregor seemed unstoppable and was on track to becoming the greatest fighter in MMA history.
I'm your daddy, eh? Call me Jose Senior. Tell him I'm his daddy.
I really don't care. Like, he can talk whatever he wants, and I'll continue to be the champion.
He said, tell him he's his daddy.
Tell him I am his daddy.
Ele é seu pai.
Nunca vai ser.
Sit on my lap.
Nunca vai ser. Tá mais fácil.
Sit on my lap.
When you knock a champion who's been that dominant and that good for 10 years out in 14 seconds, 13. There is a question, which is, was that in some ways
However, as Joe Rogan points out, McGregor's downfall began soon after these high points.
Dylan Dennis is a professional fighter. He's a professional fighter. He jumps out, he takes a swing at him. They're screaming, and Dylan's like, "F you," and he's like, "F you," and there's a bunch of people get involved, and then a bunch of other people jump in. The whole thing was nuts. But the idea that we should be shocked after him throwing a dolly at a bus because Khabib's on the bus, those Russians don't fucking play like that, man.
Yeah. Did you see the videos afterwards when Dagestan where they're shooting off the Uzis and AK?
Woman who accused the mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor of raping her in a hotel in Dublin 6 years ago has won a civil case against him. The jury has found McGregor liable and ordered him to pay Nikita Hand €250,000 in damages.
McGregor's MMA career has faced challenges in recent years. Since his high-profile loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov in 2018, he has fought only occasionally. His most recent fight, in July 2021, ended with a severe leg injury against Dustin Poirier.
UFC fighter Conor McGregor has been accused of sexually assaulting a woman after an NBA basketball game in Miami earlier this month. A legal letter outlining the allegations was sent to Mr. McGregor and seen by BBC News. It says the alleged assault took place in a bathroom at an arena in Miami. The woman's lawyer said she'd been watching Game 4 of the finals on Friday the 9th of June before the alleged incident happened. She alleged the woman was forced into a men's bathroom by security guards from the NBA and Miami Heat before being violently assaulted by Mr. McGregor. A lawyer representing Mr. McGregor said, "The allegations are false. Mr. McGregor will not be intimidated." Both the City of Miami Police and the Miami Heat, which hosted the NBA Finals game, say that they are conducting investigations.
Chandler, you said good match for Conor. Is that ever happening? Or
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
What's happening with his? He just got like the civil suit, or whatever, and he's being dropped by all his companies or something.
Yeah. I don't know the real details of that case. I know his version of it and her version of it and what played out in the court. But the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard. And he talked about it in the court case. He's talking about cocaine. Like that was the whole thing, that we're all doing cocaine. And
since then, McGregor has been working on his recovery, hinting at a comeback while pursuing ventures outside the octagon. His 2017 boxing match against Floyd Mayweather, though a loss, showcased his ability to attract huge pay-per-view audiences, proving he's still a global star.
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Floyd's not ready for this. Much respect to Floyd. He's a solid businessman. What he has been able to do, he is a animal at what he has been able to do. Yeah! But as far as real fighting, as far as true, pure, unarmed combat, Floyd don't want none of this. I say, he does not want none of this. People will even ask him. He wants it under boxing rules. He wants a boxing match. He doesn't want to fight. So I want to respect everyone in here. I love everyone of you. Give Floyd a shout out.
Jake Paul, on the other hand, represents a new wave of combat sports entertainers. Initially famous as a YouTube content creator, Paul transitioned into professional boxing, where he's built a name for himself by fighting celebrities, athletes, and former MMA fighters.
I think he's like any other young up-and-coming boxer. It's just everybody dismisses him because he's a YouTuber.
For sure. It's easy to dismiss him, but I was there when he knocked out Tyron, and I was like, man, I'm done with this kid. I never wanted to corner another fight in my life, man. I was like, yo, he just knocked my boy flat out on his face, man. I was heartbroken.
Bro, he has power. It's real power.
His bold personality, savvy marketing, and improving boxing skills have led to several notable wins, including victories over former UFC fighters like Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, and Anderson Silva.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you're like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's for real. Because nothing about watching him fight screams like he's in over his head. If he wasn't that big YouTube star, you'd be like, that dude's got dynamite in his head.
It is, but I see a lot of people talking funny stuff about like The leg kick didn't knock him out. What happened? Like, so DC says in the detailed breakdown, I kick Conor's calf and Conor steps back and his leg kind of goes. And DC says, well, that's the leg kick that, hurt his leg or whatever. But when he went after that leg kick, he kind of reached down to grab the foot and threw an uppercut. And I was switch stance, so I threw a cross from my backhand that clipped him good. And that's when he took the step back and was hurt. I think that's a detail people are missing. That right hand.
Well, you landed a lot of solid shots in that fight, but there's no doubt that leg kick was that right leg up.
Let me show y'all proof that Conor McGregor did, in fact, injure the leg that he broke in the third Dustin Poirier fight 3 years ago, just weeks before their bout. Right here, drilling kicks over and over again. It was already taped up before that, and everyone was like, oh, he heard it off of a Dustin Poirier check. Y'all don't know shit about MMA. He even posted about this after the fight.